make a motion that the agenda be approved.
Second.
I have a motion and support. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passed. I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes for September 10th, 2013.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes for September 10th, 2013. I'll second it.
I have a motion and support. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Approval, okay, public comments regarding today's agenda. Any comments regarding today's agenda?
Can I make a comment about the museum?
I shouldn't, but I will.
Okay. I just wanted to let you know that our gun show, which was held the 30th of August at Steiner's, was the biggest gun show that we've had yet. It was our 11th annual, and we normally have about 45 to 50 tables. We sold 56, and we cleared about $1,100. So we did real well. We're looking hopefully to get a director and go after some grants and utilize the space a lot more. So.
And we're talking the Steiner Museum.
Yes.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Okay, we'll move right on then to our order of business. Mr. Tim Whiting, Building Inspector.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning, Tim.
I tried to cover my wants and needs as much as I could in the background that I gave you. I'll summarize it briefly. The permitting program that we have currently is 10 years old, and it's breaking down badly. I'd hoped to wait till the slow season to replace it with a newer program, but that's not going to happen. I've had Dan over. Dan spent at least a full day on looking at the program, and it's a software program, which it's hard for an IT guy because he didn't write the program, so he doesn't understand it any better than I do. What we had to do is take the original disk and reboot the program to get it so we could even get into the program to keep going on writing permits the last week and a half. When we did that, the program went back to all the default reports. The way we see the building permit as it comes out, it was the default program in there. It was just a mess. And some of my financial reports I'm having to handwrite and put the codes in now. Sherry Wilson, who used to be with the building department and was there when this program was purchased and had designed most of the reports for Oscoda County, Jason was kind enough to let me have her for an afternoon, and she got it back a little bit so we can use it. It's still not right. It's still doing a lot of things that it just wants to do and not what we want it to do. So basically the program is trash. The company is out of business. There's no IT support to fix the program, and it's just now, it's time to upgrade and get a program that's more in line with 2013 needs. I've given you 3 proposals. As you can see, software is not cheap. The first proposal in your packet was from All Pro Technologies. An important thing about this company is they're located in Lake City instead of on the West Coast, which means I can talk to them in Michigan time and not have to wait until after lunch to reach somebody for support. Their program was designed about 10 years ago for Missaukee County, which is similar in size to Oscoda County. And so the reason I think they're cheaper is it's based on the needs of a small rural county instead of a county, say like Oakland County, where there's multiple inspectors and multiple office people. And it's a simple program to use, and it's quite a bit cheaper than the other 2 proposals I gave you. As far as buying the program versus leasing the program, you know, there's no guarantee on our economy, and I've struggled, believe me, over the last 5-6 years to maintain my budget. If things go south again with the economy, getting a $2,000 lease payment out every year could be a problem. So while I have the money, I just soon go ahead and purchase it. It's ours. With the purchase price comes 1,500 minutes of tech support. So that should cover me for a very long time on tech support for the program. I have the money in the budget. The additional building permit fee that I mentioned in the background came in the mail yesterday. Very good timing on that. So we're set. I just need your permission to spend this kind of money, or I'll entertain questions on the proposals.
Tim, does your computer right now, will that handle the new software?
We, before getting the software, we knew this was coming. I have 2 brand new state-of-the-art computers in my office that were installed this past week.
So it'll
Yeah,
accept it without upgrades?
They're 250 gigabyte hard drives with 250 gigabyte 500 gigabyte hard drives with 500 hard drive backup. So, and then plus we use flash drives to back up.
Are you going to be able to get the parcel input, where you have the information for?
Yes. Yeah, they wanted to, for an extra fee, they would have hooked up to the county software, and they could have imported every parcel in the county into my program. But I told them that wasn't really necessary because we have the county's program with all the parcel numbers in it. It's just a matter of punching a couple buttons and I have the information I need. I don't really need to pay to have that duplicated.
Question I had here was the Smart Gov sales quote. It looks substantially higher. Was it still a comparable quote?
It's a, theirs I think does a lot more. Probably it has a bigger range than the program I picked out. It has a lot of stuff that we don't need. They would take all the data from my current program. When BlackBerry was the name of my current program, when they went out of business, the SmartGov people hired on some of their tech people right away. They have the capability of taking all the data out of my current program and incorporating it into theirs. But for their price, I mean, $7,500 a year for a lease program is prohibitive.
Well,
And it's not that much better. I mean, the one that I picked will do everything that we need and more. Oscoda County, realistically, because of here in National Forest, we'll never outgrow the program that we have. There's no room to outgrow it, unless the government starts selling off building tracts.
Do you know something about that?
That'd be a good place to start a rumor, I guess.
Okay, now, all of the information that you have currently can be downloaded, or they will download to this program?
No. It is downloaded onto the new machines. I can access it at any time. The program hasn't broke down to the fact that it's losing data. It's broke down to the point where I can't print out the data in the way that I need it. And with no tech support behind it, it's like the program that was before this program. That data is also on my machines from 2000 to 2004. I have that data, and now I have the data from 2004 to 2013 also stored on the machines and on flash drives, so it can be accessed if somebody needs to know about a permit in the past.
So we're not going to lose that
No,
data?
we're not going to lose that data.
Okay, good. Any other questions from the board? Dan is happy with this?
Yeah, I've
Gives his
invited him,
blessing.
when their tech people come over to install it on our computers, I've invited Dan to come along, just so he has a working knowledge of the program, which will help in the future. If I ever need a quick fix, he might be able to help me rather than waiting on this company to come over. The nice thing about this company is also they can if I have a problem, they can remotely access my computer. Through the internet, they tie right into my program, and they can fix it from their end without ever leaving their office in Lake City. I don't understand any of it, but that's the way it is.
Well, you obviously understand part of it.
Well, I'm getting there. But by the time I understand all of it, I'll be retired probably. And I'm not putting the idea in anybody's head about retirement. That's down the road ways.
All right, I'll call for a motion.
I'll make a motion to authorize the purchase of the software program for the building department from All Pro Technology in the amount of $14,900 and so amend the budget.
I'll support.
I do have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call?
Commissioner Christenberry,
Yes.
Commissioner Warren,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson,
Yes.
Commissioner Fischnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Varner.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Commissioners. I have one question.
It's too late, we've already approved it.
That's good, that's good. Do I have to wait 2 weeks to request a check for this till you approve the minutes, or can I go ahead and request a check to get this started?
Go ahead and start it.
Okay, thank you. Y'all have a good day.
Thank you, Tim. Okay, next up on our agenda, Gail Farley and Joe Schwartzendruber, Planning Commission, amend ordinance, new membership. Good morning.
Morning. We would like to have you approve the ordinance 2010-001 with the amendments that we have made and are highlighted on your copy. Basically, what we've done is taken out the wording of the bylaws in favor of a code of conduct. We would also like to show you that we've come to the conclusion that Commissioner Wilson serves as a liaison to our board. When we planned the budget, we planned his per diem in the budget, and now we're under the understanding that it comes from a different fund. Therefore, we have the funds for another member, and we would like your approval to bring another member onto our board.
That would be 5 members with a liaison.
5 members plus the county board. And the county commissioner would not be a voting member of your board.
That is correct.
I noticed one other thing that I would like your input. I see a major change here in that you're stating that, I believe the previous motion stated no county employee could be a member of your board.
That is correct. If you look at the descriptions of the county, of the planning board, they include, I'm sorry, I'm not sure of the exact spot, but they include various people of the community that are either directly or indirectly employees of the county. Such as a member of the library board, the board, school board positions, such as that.
I personally have no problem with deleting that. And Mark, you had some questions.
Yeah, who are the members right now? I know you, Gail.
Dr. Tim Jenks and Michael Smith.
Michael Smith is not a member yet.
Not yet.
So that would be 4. You wanted 5
And
members,
we
right?
want to do one more.
Okay. And then, who do these people represent? And, you know, I noticed in the ordinance, it says, every reasonable effort should be made to ensure that membership of the County Planning Commission should include a member of the Public School Board or administrative employee in its boundaries, or forestry, manufacturing, parks, recreation, land, you know, it goes on and
And
on.
what we've done is broken it into responsibilities. Each member is responsible for these different areas, communicating with these different areas. Did not have any applications from such as the school board. So one of the members is responsible for being in contact with the school boards.
Okay, so the effort was put the ad out, not go contact. All right. Also, are your terms now, are they all staggered?
I'm sorry?
Your terms of your members, are they all staggered?
Yes,
As they
they are.
tried to do last time?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Whose term is up at the end of 2013?
Mr. Jenks, or Dr. Jenks, Tim Jenks.
I thought he replaced Loretta.
He did, but being
Her term ended December
in
31st.
January, we discussed the terms, and he decided that, actually, he wanted to see what we were all about, so he accepted the one-year term and may, ask to have another term after December.
Okay.
Please understand, we don't have an overabundance of volunteers for these positions.
Well, I understand that, but I believe we did have a good response to the last advertisement we had, and I believe we had 4 members.
Yes, we
Or
did.
4 people
Yes,
show an
we did.
interest in being on that board. And at this point, I believe 2 of those are being recommended by you.
Yes.
Mike Smith being one, and the other one
Unknown at this time.
is undecided at this time, but yet being thought very seriously.
Yes.
And I agree with you. I just had a problem with how your terms are staggered and who's up for.
I do apologize, I don't have that information right with me, but I can send it to the commission through Mr. Wilson.
Why did you decide that the planning board code of conduct versus a bylaws is more effective?
Actually, the code of conduct, we have had in the past some gray area conduct at some of the meetings, and we decided that a code of conduct would cover those gray areas better than a set of bylaws.
Mr. Wilson, do you have any input that you would like to give us on this? Since you're on that board, and sounds like if we approve this, you would be eliminated from that board
Just a vote.
as far as being a voting member.
That don't bother me a bit. If they can get 5 people to vote, I'll set back if we need it. We'll need 5 active members. Wouldn't bother me a bit, just to set
And
back.
with the tasks at hand for the next year, we're going to need all the help we can get along with subcommittees.
We have 2 people now that are subcommittees that joined us, so we're picking up some members that are helping.
And the only other question I had, and I'll admit, I'm ignorant of the situation, is I saw that Mike put in his letter to be on the planning commission, but then on some of the minutes of your meetings, it said, does he know he's gonna be on the EDA and Brownfield Commission too?
Yes, sir.
Are they all combined?
No, they're very closely related. The same members are on the EDC and the Planning Commission, as well as the Brownfield.
So are they all, but they're different boards?
They
I
are.
mean, okay. That's where I was confused. I didn't understand that. I don't think I still do. Tell you the truth.
Well, this was a decision that was made by previous boards to combine the EDC, the Planning Commission, and the Brownfield.
And limit the members of the boards.
Were they supposed to combine the meetings? Does anybody know?
They
There's
were,
two separate boards. There were to be two separate boards, but common board members,
Okay.
and the meetings were to be back to back. Meaning that they would go from an EDC Brownfield meeting, close it, and then go right to a planning commission board meeting. That was the original idea, and since then, they've changed it to every other month, where EDC meets 1 month, and then the planning commission will meet the following month. Is that correct?
Yes, yes.
so the Planning Commission is meeting 6 times a year.
Yes, sir.
EDC Brownfield
With-
is meeting
with-
6 times a year.
With budgets for 2 special meetings for each board, should they be needed.
I'm sorry.
With the budget for 2 special meetings on each board, should they be needed to be called.
Okay. Because I believe the question was raised to me that at one time it was discussed that there was only going to be 4 meetings a year, going back, I think it was 2010.
4 meetings with 2 extras, yes.
Personally, I don't feel you can accomplish anything with 4 meetings a year,
Yes, sir.
so I would not recommend that. Anything else you would like to add to that?
No, sir.
Any other questions from this board? Then I'll entertain a motion.
Are we just gonna amend the,
Number 1.
okay.
There you go.
All right. I'll make the motion to amend section 102 membership and section 103 liaison, 105 members appointments and terms, section 106 removal from office, section 108 membership, section 110 meeting section, 112 meeting records of the 2010-001 Oscoda County Planning Commission ordinance per minutes approved by the Planning Commission at their August 22nd, 2013 board meeting.
Second.
I have a motion and support. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Step 1 accomplished.
Thank you. Now may I have approval for Michael Smith?
We have a motion to place a public notice in the Herald as required under the Michigan Planning Enabling Act.
When I'm going through research on that, and from previous ways we have done that, we have to put this in the paper. People have up to a certain 50 days to get with the clerk if they disagree about this particular ordinance. So,
That's what we have to do, right?
yeah.
All right, I'll make the motion to place a public notice in the Herald as required under Michigan Planning Enabling Act, Public Act 33 of 2008.
Second.
I have a motion and support. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Now we have a motion to add Michael Smith.
I'll make a motion to accept the appointment of Michael Smith to the Planning Commission Board, EDC, and Brownfield Board as recommended. I'll support.
I have a motion and support. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passed.
Thank you very much.
You're off and running again. And I'm glad to see you wore your white hat today. I do appreciate that. That's always a good one.
Oh, so.
Andy, you're up.
Okay, well, we're moving ahead. I got with Brenda and I did submit a tentative bylaws. There's a few things to be filled in on it. And for the first time in a long time, we're all on the same road. Boy, is that nice. The board, the Boy Scouts, our board, Yahoo. Okay, we had a meeting on September the 9th out at the fairgrounds, and we looked at the tentative bylaws, and everybody agreed on them. We added a change and a few things on there. And so they were submitted. And let's see, and to tie into this, stepping out of the box a little bit, but we had a fair board meeting last night and we decided to go ahead. Part of the reason was this youth group, you know, to work with each other. And the fair, instead of being, we're going to take a back seat as far as being a fair, we're going to make it more like the Oscoda County Fair Board presents a Heritage Day weekend to involve more youth things. That's kind of what we're planning on. But, so we're at this point. Bylaws have been submitted. We have a board. And I have to get with the Boy Scouts. We're working on approaching the KFC or a few other organizations as a chartering or sponsoring organization, I guess you would call it. So that's where we're at.
Any comments from the Boy Scouts?
We're very excited and pleased at the acceptance and the cooperation we've had from really everybody involved. You know, it's rare when we're all on the same road, moving in the same direction to help the youth in the area. And we all know that our youth are our most valuable assets, and they are what we get out of tomorrow is what we invest in them today. And so we're excited to move forward, and we're ready to move forward to help, and all the way down to our scout executive, who's over the entire district, is on board with making sure this works up here and go together. So we've got the attention of the entire state of Michigan for the Boy Scouts of America and what we're doing up here. So we want to thank everybody for their hard work and their support, and we're ready to continue to move forward so we can get a program in place to help the youth.
Very good, and we thank you for your participation with us. We'll do whatever we can to make this a very successful endeavor. Sandy, I do have a problem. I have talked to a couple of other members of our commission, and when we originally talked, I had mentioned a 5-member board. You have come up with a 7-member board.
We're down to 6 now.
How did you get down to 6?
Denise Ricker resigned due to too many commitments.
Okay. I'm gonna take you down to 5. Because I'm going to suggest that the county commissioner that's assigned to your board is not a voting member.
Okay,
And your county commissioner will be a liaison to your board.
okay,
So now you're at 5.
okay, that's fine.
Now we're within agreement. Now I'm on the same road.
All right.
So you've got all your members now? Mm-hmm. So we still have to advertise, right? Because it would be a new board?
I don't believe so.
I don't believe we
All we
have
have to do is-
to. I believe that with this being a new board and in history and past history and what's gone on, that the recommendations that will be brought forth at the next meeting, we can accept them.
Well, obviously, these people
But
have
as, I would,
vested interest in it.
I would say as new members, if they were to resign or anything, then we would need to,
Right.
we would need to carry this out like we would normal,
Okay.
any other board. Yes.
Are we gonna stagger the terms, the years?
She's created her bylaws, they're in there for you guys to review, we'll play with them a little bit. Bob should probably meet with you and go over
Right.
some things, and you need to do in accordance to Open Meetings Act, Robert rules, appoint members, you've gotta have your meeting dates, so there's some work that needs to be done.
And
But
I'm
this is the
learning,
first step.
I'm learning with this too.
So this would be our first step.
But what I'm hearing is that we will have staggered terms for your members. And what was the other thing? 5-member board.
Commissioners and liaison.
Commissioners and liaison. So there's a few changes that need to be
And
made.
we want to do the 6 meetings with the 2 alternates like we have with the other board members, that might need a thought too. So those are things that need to be discussed yet, so.
Okay.
But you gotta start someplace, so.
Yes, this is the beginning right here.
Yes. Go for it.
Motion to create Oscoda County Citizens Advisory Youth Council Board to consist of 5 members, to include the Board of Commissioner as a voting, correct, not a voting member. Members will be eligible for a county per diem paid out of the general fund 101-115-708-00 government administration, effective October 1st, 2013.
Second.
I have a motion and support. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. There is no money being spent here at this point.
Okay. I said yes. I agree. Aye.
What?
She just asked me who seconded it.
Thank you, Sandy.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate all your hard work and being with us on this. We think the youth of Oscoda County are going to benefit very much from this.
I would say it has to do with Sandy's persistence.
And perseverance. All right, moving right along. Annette Wells, Director of Community Mediation Services. Oh, and Tammy Emmett.
Yeah, I'm on it. I'm just here, I am a member of the board for the Community Mediation Services, and I'm also a mediator for that group. And I just want to introduce Annette, who is the director for our mediation services.
Thank you.
Good morning, thank
Good
you
morning,
for having
Annette.
me here. Microphones make me nervous, sorry about that.
Us too.
You too? Okay, good to know. I think I should have wore a hat. It might have made me feel better too. But, okay, so
Only a white hat.
only a white hat. I only have a white hat, so I'm with that vote. What we wanted to do is last year we had shared for the first time our proclamation for Conflict Resolution Day. And we shared it with you last year, and you approved it last year, and we brought it back this year to try and create an awareness for mediation. And what mediation is and what we do is we empower volunteer mediators. We train them with a Michigan Supreme Court curriculum. It's a 40-hour intensive training and then has an internship. And what they do as volunteers is help people in the communities resolve disputes. So we work with the 10 northern counties. Oscoda County is one of them. And we help anybody with an issue resolve that dispute themselves. So it saves the taxpayers money, the courts money, and the individuals that stress and the heartache of having the issue on their shoulders. We do a lot of court-ordered cases here in Oscoda County, where the court will order a case that they feel may have an emotional piece, a family piece, some kind of relationship that they want to preserve. And what we do is help build a plan so that they can solve the issue and save that relationship. Then that plan can be a court-ordered, court-enforced document. So with mediation, we're not the judge, we're not the jury, we're not an advocate. We're there just to help them facilitate that conversation, help clarify what their issues are, and walk through it so together they can develop something to settle the issue. We help a lot with parenting time disputes, especially here in Oscoda. The front of the court will refer cases. So if somebody hasn't had a chance to see their kids, having arguments about pick-up, drop-off times, they can send that to us and we'll help them sit down and talk about it so everybody has a healthy relationship. We also help with the Michigan Special Education Program. So if anybody needs special education needs, we'll work with the school and the families at no cost to the school or the families to help them walk through and facilitate a plan for their special education needs, or behavioral plans, or an individual learning plan for the students. We help with anything from credit card disputes to those family issues, juvenile issues, truancy, bullying. Any of those things can be something we help with, and we do it all with fantastic volunteers. So with that said, we have a proclamation that I think everybody has a copy of. I don't know if I need to read it. Do I need to read it? Do you usually read them out loud? No comment, yes, okay. Whereas conflict resolution is a way of people solving individual disputes as well as a means towards creating a more peaceful community. And whereas our citizens possess the moral authority and power to resolve conflict on their own, and whereas the conflict resolution process empowers all individuals, families, communities, schools, businesses, and organizations to foster communication and desire solutions that are acceptable to the needs and interests of all the parties involved. And whereas the Michigan Public Act 260 of 1988, known as the Community Dispute Resolution Act, authorized the establishment of community dispute resolution centers throughout the state of Michigan. And whereas the Michigan Supreme Court Administrative Office oversees 19 community resolution centers, which provide trained mediators to assist in conflict resolution. And whereas Community Mediation Services is a center serving the counties of Alcona, Alpena, Sheboygan, Crawford, Iosco, Kalkaska, Mount Morenci, Oscoda, Otsego, and Presque Isle. And whereas community-based volunteers trained in conflict resolution are the backbone of this program, these trained volunteer mediators provide mediation, facilitation, conciliation when asked by their peers or ordered by the court. And whereas these volunteers serving as mediators provide low-cost or no-cost quality service that can strengthen and restore relationships by relieving parties and courts of costly litigation, resulting in less time involved to reach a mutual, satisfactory solution rather than an order imposed on them by a third party. And whereas the third Thursday in October is set aside as Conflict Resolution Day in recognition as the mediation process and these volunteers to increase public awareness of constructive ways to resolve conflict of any type. Now therefore be it resolved that the Oscoda County Board of Commissioners hopefully proclaims Thursday, October 17th, 2013 as Conflict Resolution Day in Oscoda County. We encourage all citizens to acknowledge the value of conflict through mediation, facilitation, and conciliation, and encourage them to use this form of dispute resolution and get involved and support their local conflict resolution center.
Thank you very much for that.
You're welcome.
Very well done.
Thank you. I'm very passionate about what I do. I've been a volunteer for 10 years before becoming the director, and it is a very rewarding volunteer position. To be able to help individuals settle something outside of the court, to empower them and let them have the ability to resolve it themselves is huge. And so I thank you for the opportunity to share. I do have some brochures that I'd like to just share, and that's it.
Very good, thank you. Do I hear a motion to adopt?
I make the motion that the Oscoda County Board of Commissioners hereby proclaim Thursday, October the 17th, 2013 as Conflict Resolution Day in the County of Oscoda, Michigan.
Second.
I have a motion and support. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Thank you very much, Annette.
Thank you.
Annette, do you get most of your business from the court, or do you have people?
It's about 80% from the court that's court ordered, but individuals can call, businesses, boards can call. We hear a lot of discussion on boards. We facilitate a lot of those tough discussions. So anybody can call and you can make a self-referral at any time.
And you said, once you guys decide for the court, that becomes a court document.
It can become a court-ordered document. If it's a self-referral, it may not need to be, but it would be something that could be at any time.
And how many do you do in Oscoda County a year?
About 100 a year in Oscoda County. The last few years, it's been primarily family disputes. A lot of parenting time in front of the court supported, where people have discussions about their kids. And those discussions impact the relationship in those families drastically. So sitting down and building the skills, the better communication with those families is a long-term asset. A lot of times those families will call back a year or two later. Hey, our kids are older now, they're in sports, they're doing this and that. It's changed, we're not picking up, dropping off the way we're supposed to. We're arguing about telephones and computer time and all of that. So they'll come back and we can, sit down and talk about them new issues. But we also do a lot of credit card, court cases, juvenile youth offender cases.
Very good.
Judge Rutt uses that a lot for her divorce cases when they don't have attorneys and they have different things to settle property.
She does. We talk about the property settlement and then that goes right in with the divorce decree. There isn't an issue that I think we couldn't talk about, but keeping in mind we don't determine a right or wrong, so we couldn't say that that person is guilty. But there are cases sometimes where something's happened, where we're going to talk about the actions, but remembering that we don't make a judgment on it, so nobody's going to get a guilty or innocent charge. But we could talk about what are they going to do down the road so they're not back in court, they're not hitting each other, or whatever it was that brought them to court, to preserve that relationship. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving right along. I'll ask the question, have the microphones been beneficial, or is everyone able to hear better?
Yes.
Yes.
Very good. Then we'll continue to use them. Under old business, we have the Neighborhood Watch Sign Committee request.
Good morning. At your last meeting, we had some discussion about possibly asking commissioners for some support to order some signs for the 911 signs, the green signs out in front of the residents. There is an ordinance that was passed, I guess, by the board 5 or 7 years ago. And you were gonna put it off for a little bit to this meeting till Sheriff Grace could get a hold of the 911 state that they collect for.
Well, at this point, and I guess Sheriff Grace let us down and they won't. Support it.
I he informed me of that too.
What we're going to do, I would like to state at this point, this is an ordinance for the county of Oscoda. It has been on the books, I believe, for 4 years? 7 years?
2007.
Was it 2007?
I believe so.
So therefore, the people of Oscoda County know that these are required. We have given something like $7,700 approximately towards giving these signs to people that don't want to go buy them. That wasn't what the ordinance was originally designed for. I know a lot of tax-paying Oscoda County people have gone out, bought their own 911 signs and put them up. This was originally, these signs were bought for the people that couldn't afford to put them up. What we would like to reiterate at this point is that it is a requirement to live in Oscoda County that you should have one of these signs for your benefit, so that our emergency personnel can find your home, so that our sheriff's deputies can find your home. I don't believe that we should be spending any more taxpayer money to buy signs for people that simply don't want to go buy them. I don't think we should be buying these signs for the people downstate who have vacation property up here and they don't want to put a sign up. So, having said that, I'm going to entertain a motion, and Mark had a good suggestion. Do you want to go according to your...
I'll make the motion, and then you guys can decide. The motion I'm gonna make is just to increase it, to give another $2,268. That'd be $10,000 that the county gave to people.
Okay, I was unaware of the previous, I guess that was handled through the ambulance part?
I don't know. All I know is it came out of the budget. It was $7,732.
Okay.
This would make it an even $10,000. And I would tack after this, no, you know, this is an ordinance, it's a rule.
Right.
It needs to be enforced, otherwise what are we making rules for? And the people that are gonna complain that their house wasn't found are the ones that don't have the sign. And plus, you know, like I said, there was an extra $1,900 that the Council on Aging gave well before the county gave up money too. We handed out 121 signs. But I'll make a motion to authorize the funding for the final purchase of 911 signs, not to exceed $2,268, to be paid out of general fund, expense line 101-115-807.08, civic projects upon receipt of the invoice. And I would, you know, suggest, I don't know if you went to all the other hardware stores, but go with the low bid to get the most signs, because there will be no more.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, we hit 5 of the businesses in Oscoda County. Luzerne Hardware.
I do have a motion on the floor. I need to have a second for that motion before we can discuss it.
Oh.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to authorize the funding of a final purchase of 911 signs not to exceed $2,800
Or $2,268.
to be paid out of the general fund expense line, civic projects upon a receipt of invoice. Okay, any discussion? Now, if you would like to discuss it further.
But yeah, I was just a motion that, mentioned, that we did, we went to all local businesses, there are 5 of them here in the county, with Luzerne Hardware being the least expensive out of the 5, and that was at $8.25 per sign. Versus the most expensive was $12.50. So it was quite an arraignment. I guess the Luzerne Hardware, they're not making anything on it. From what I understand, they're just doing it for their civic, feeling it's something they need to do for their community. They are civic-minded people. Yeah, so I'm very appreciative of them.
Okay, I have a motion and support. Roll call.
Commissioner Gretner?
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson?
Yes.
Commissioner Kishner?
Yes.
Commissioner Warner?
Yes.
Commissioner Berry?
Yes.
You got them.
Thank you.
I don't know how many that is, but
Well, we'll figure that out.
when they're gone, they're gone.
When they're gone, they're gone, yes, I agree. Okay,
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Yes, we used up what they had, thank you.
Okay, we have a resolution application for the risk reduction grant program. The Oscoda County Emergency Medical Services EMS serves Oscoda County, and whereas an application will be sent in the amount of $4,108 to a max of $5,000 for a risk reduction grant program. And whereas the grant will be used to offset costs of a camera recording system for the patient compartment in each of the 4 ambulances. And whereas this system is designed to reduce the liability risk to Oscoda County EMS from patients who are considered a high risk for litigation. Therefore, be it resolved that Oscoda County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the application for the Risk Reduction Grant Program prepared by the Oscoda County Ambulance Director. I need a motion to approve the Ambulance Director submitting this application for the Risk Reduction Grant Program and authorize me to sign such.
I'll make that motion.
Do I hear support?
I'll support.
I do have a motion and support. Any discussion?
This is through our insurance company?
This is through,
This is through the
Municipal.
municipal underwriter.
Paul Wilson, yeah.
There is a problem, this is a HIPAA violation.
That's what I was gonna ask next.
Every employee, every person who gets on an ambulance is gonna have to sign a release form to be recorded. I think this is a HIPAA violation though.
Actually, in formal litigation, it's not. The way it's set up specifically, there's a record button for patients who are specifically high risk. It's only ever used and utilized by one person. The person will be able to see at that time is me, and it's only if it's used for litigation. HIPAA has contingencies for that. So it's not used for patient recording, or it's not used for patient records. And if it is, it's only utilized if there's a lawsuit pending or if there's an issue with courts.
That was my question. How is this different from Kevin's cameras on your car, on your cars?
Mine's not covered under HIPAA,
Why not?
because I'm not providing medical treatment or otherwise, there's nothing from that part. It's basically under the Freedom of Information Act also, because it'll be a public record at one point or another if it's submitted into the courts.
Okay. And you're sure on this, Jason?
Yes.
I mean, do we have to have an attorney look at this? Or?
If you prefer to, for more comfort, you can. Historically, they've used in other services around the country. AMR in the West uses them regularly. The reason it doesn't conflict with HIPAA or doesn't break HIPAA laws is the fact that it's only ever pulled if there's a court litigation case involved, or if there's a civil matter involved with it, in which case it goes out and then they get a waiver for it anyway, or a subpoena. So it's never seen by anybody else other than me, and only if that's the case. So after so many hours, it's erased because the hard drive resets itself.
How many other departments have these?
In this state, I honestly couldn't tell you. Out west,
Any of the locals like MMR or anything else, do they have all these big cameras in the ambulances?
MMR has them on the front of the truck and the back. I don't think they have them in the patient compartment, and beyond that, I also couldn't tell you.
Because I was not aware of this, I've never seen this before. On this, like you say, take a video camera of these high risk or whatever they're at, I've never seen this before in an ambulance in my career that I've been there.
It's been a fairly new concept in the past probably 7 to 10 years. In that time, over in Michigan, it's not really been popular, mostly because of financing and money. The system itself runs $4,000 to $6,000 per truck, so most systems don't go for it. However, the fact is that what it allows us to do, if, for example, we have I'll give you a really good example. If you have a male paramedic and you have a female patient, like a younger female patient, we've had in the past tendencies for the female patients to threaten suits, threaten kind of, well, he touched me wrong, he did that kind of thing. It just allows the paramedic to be able to record and to verify that that never happened, that never happened. It keeps us free and clear of it. The only time it'll ever be pulled is if it's a legal matter. If she decides to go ahead and press charges on the paramedic, for example, or try and sue us for something. That's one example of what it's used for. Other combative patients, that kind of thing. In which case, the two things, if it becomes a combative patient, it can be used for medical review by the medical control, or it can be used by or the Sheriff's Department for evaluation on tactics and what we did. So it's not typically used. It's just a once in a while kind of thing, but it protects my paramedics. So
Now, on most of your reports that I've given, when you're patient, you write out all the reports that are on the computer. Doesn't your medics or paramedics or your EMTs, they write out a full report stating what had happened?
Oh, absolutely.
Prior to this current, before having these cameras, you had where you write out a full report. This is what happened, this is what we did, we gave them this. And then, like you said, something about with the male and the female, that patient or that medic would write out and say, well, I never touched her this way, I didn't do this or that. That would be in the report, considering not on the video cam right now.
correct. There's an instance, I'll give you an example. Grayling had the same exact instance with a male paramedic who was well established, was 20 years in the field, and he had it happen to him where he got accused of molesting a female patient in a bathing suit. It's the outcome of that case, I really don't know. They didn't have video in the back of the truck to verify yes or no what happened. It was his word against hers, and he ended up losing his license, and that's my concern. So it's like he can report as much as he likes, but if there's not proof, it's very hard to counter it. So in that particular instance, my curiosity would be why didn't his partner step up or when they take the partner's word for it. So it's one of those things, just kind of a safety net for us, and that's what I was looking at. So.
The only thing you mentioned, though, that the drivers can erase these, or
No, they can't be erased unless they're cycled out or programmed to. But nobody can access them except for me.
So you want to keep these for a period of time, wouldn't you? Because
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, with this program, we have specifically the ability to download it to another file if you need to. But the only person who will have access is me, and if necessary, we can go with other people.
I suggest this be looked at by the attorney.
Well, I'm going to suggest that we go ahead and vote on this from the standpoint that we're only giving you the permission to go ahead and make the application for this grant.
Okay.
But I am going to suggest that I agree with Mr. Wilson, that we have this gone over by a legal entity to make sure that if we get this grant and they're installed in our ambulances, that we are in compliance with the law. I don't want to put the county at risk of doing this in violation of the HIPAA laws. But I do believe that we can go ahead and approve your grant application. And I think we would be able to massage this a little bit if we do, in fact, get the grant application to where we might be able to have something different than maybe actually in the patient compartment.
Okay. Are you referring to more cameras like inside the front or back?
Correct.
One of the systems that one of the vendors have put up, there's a system that has a front camera, reverse camera, and then the center compartment one. It records all three cameras, like for case of accidents, so that's an option as well. That's a $6,000 system. I have paperwork if you want to see it. The other thing to keep in mind too is that there will be policies in place about this and when it's used and what it's used for, and that'll be determined, of course, after the fact.
Right now, we do have a camera that the driver can see what's going on back there.
Correct.
So why couldn't it be used as a reference if something does happen? You got two words against one.
This is true, that's a very good possibility. It just, I think, as I said, it's more of a safety net in order to cover our bases. So it's there whenever we need to use it.
And the insurance company probably would deny it if it wasn't legal.
Correct.
This is just a resolution to accept, you know,
Just, yeah,
for the
just to
application.
apply for the grant.
All
We'll
this
go along
is,
with that.
it's a requirement actually to apply for the grant.
We have a motion on the floor.
I'll make the motion to adopt the
No,
resolution.
it's already been made.
Oh,
Yes. Made and supported. Roll call.
Commissioner Wilson,
Yes.
Commissioner Kishner,
Yes.
Commissioner Warner,
Yes.
Commissioner Kishnerberry? Yes. And Commissioner Grantner?
Yes.
You're off and running, Jason. With restrictions. I'm sure everybody is very thrilled that we're now going to go into a budget discussion for 2014. I figure by next meeting, we should have this all wrapped up. Is that correct? I don't think so.
Yeah, we're gonna have this part wrapped.
What we're suggesting, Brenda and I went over this last week? Yeah, last week. We're going to kind of break up the budget worksheets and with the department board heads. I think you'll see towards the last couple of pages, it's been broken down to where Sheriff Grace is going to have his budget ready to go, and he'll sit down with Bob and I to go over that. The family court will be Mark and Lee. Larry and Lee will be going over the maintenance department. Bob and Mark will be working with the ambulance department. Jason's budget's all done, right, Jason?
Or up to the floor, yeah.
Library, Mark and I will be working on. Bob and Larry will be working on the Veterans Affairs, Soldiers and Sailors. Then going down, if you notice on the right-hand side, housing will be Lee, Mark and Larry on the building department, Bob and Jack on the county park, Larry and Mark on the EDC board, planning board. So those are some of the breakdowns that we're going to have. So what we need to do is to set this schedule so that everybody can block out these times, so that we can set these workshop time up with department heads and get the process started. So, what's your pleasure? Anything else I should have?
Just that the entire board actually will work on the budget. These are just individual, a couple of the commissioners working with primary department heads on their particular areas, but the entire board actually will sit down and work on the budget with holding scheduled meetings with those particular people coming in and just going over line to line.
That's what the 29th and 5th are for.
Correct.
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 Okay. I'll make the motion to hold 2 special budget workshop board meetings, October 29th, 2013, and November 5th, 2013, and to hold a 3rd budget workshop at the regular Board of Commissioners meeting on November 12th.
Your support. I have motion and support. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And these will be subject to the Open Meetings Act.
Oh, yes.
So we will all be here and we're all welcome to sit here and listen.
What time are you looking at, Ron?
You, all day.
When we get around.
Scheduled meeting dates will actually start at 9 through till 4.
Yeah, we're starting him at 9, Ron, so I can come to your meeting at 8. Okay, next order of business is the, you got a question?
No.
EOC, Emergency Operations Coordinator. Buffy has requested that the BOC allow her to use excess funds already in her budget approved by the BOC for the cybersecurity and the 450 megahertz radios project to pay to install a new electronics timer along with a necessary transformer to get the proper power to run the control equipment of the siren controller already installed. Now, is that so that Ron has a wake-up call in the morning, or?
At noon. You're up by noon, aren't you?
Well, it's going to be tested at noon,
Yes.
so he'll know when to go to lunch.
Yeah.
Very nice, very nice. For your information, people, the money has already been appropriated, but the budget is showing a little excess, so this gives us the opportunity to allow Buffy to make that siren operable. I'm not sure how long it's been since it has been operable, but I think it has been quite some time. So, what's your pleasure?
I'll make the motion to authorize the installation of the new Ultronics timer along with necessary transformer to upgrade the power to the siren controller in the amount of $840 to be out of the emergency management budget, expense line 101-426-977.00, and so amend the budget.
Second.
I have a motion and support. Any discussion?
Is that going to go off every day at noon? Or on just
We
certain
had
days?
talked to the guy from West Shore about the possibility of it only going off on Fridays, and it sounded, Ron, like that was something he was able to do, right?
That's what he said.
Yeah. That's what we'd prefer, is Fridays at noon.
Okay.
Time to go home.
And Kevin, who has the main control?
That will be at the Sheriff's
The
Department.
Sheriff's Department?
Off a radio frequency that we already hold a license for.
Okay.
I'm not sure we should do
It
that.
reviews tri-counts.
Giving him more
We're gonna watch for cameras and watch you drive by.
Okay.
And we did get the funds for the generator and all that.
Yes,
paid
we
back.
have been reimbursed for the generator project. The ambulance service was reimbursed for their 800 megahertz radios, and we received our reimbursement for the Barracuda cybersecurity program. And that leftover funds in that budget is, I was able to get actually Dan Kaufman was able to get the Barracuda cybersecurity program for less money than originally quoted, and we were able to get the 450 megahertz system for less money than originally quoted. So that's where that money is left over from. And the generator was put on the cement pad this morning at 10.
Fantastic, that's all good news. Thank you, Buffy. Roll call.
Commissioner Warner?
Yes.
Commissioner Christenberry?
Yes.
Commissioner Gretner?
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson?
Yes.
Commissioner Kishner?
Yes.
You're gonna have to help us, help me at least on the second one, Bob.
Yeah,
What's the
radio consolidation
what is this?
feasibility studies.
We had Pete Vandenberg from OTEC came and did a study of prior to you guys coming in December, we were required, everyone nationwide was required for emergency services to narrow band their broadcast frequencies. Essentially that means the signal that used to go out on approximately this width got taken down to roughly half the width, and in counties like this in northern Michigan, our ability to send our signal any distance was pretty seriously compromised. So we had Pete from OTEC come and did a study in this county as to ways to improve that, and he has some proposals. What he recommends is consolidation of some of the frequencies, and to do that he's going to need to approach some of the townships, because each fire department currently has its own frequency. So he has to approach the fire departments, the townships, and look at the possibility of placement of another tower. So that quote is to do that study, the remainder portion of that study, and that would be through a Homeland Security grant. But again, we have to allocate the money here and spend the money and then be reimbursed through that grant process.
Thank you.
We got our money back on the other ones.
We did, and now we can spend it up front and get it back later.
Again.
Need a motion.
I'll make the motion to authorize up to $7,000 upfront for radio consolidation feasibility study approved by the state to be reimbursed back to the county, and so amend the reflected revenue and expense budget lines.
I support. I have a motion and support. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Christenberry?
Yes.
Commissioner Brantner?
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson?
Yes.
Commissioner Kishnick?
Yes.
Commissioner Barner?
Yes.
You're off and running, Buffy. The maintenance agreement Polycon system for the courts. I don't believe we have a great deal of choice here, do we?
Do we save that much money, Kevin? Do you know?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you if you want me to comment. I don't know what the quote is for, but
It pains me, but yes.
But yes, at the beginning, I would have said it's not being utilized and wasn't worth it when we first brought it on board, because we were with Montmorency County and they were having connectivity problems, so we were still having to go get them. It's being very well utilized. We're able to connect with the state. We're able to connect with, we had somebody in Saginaw not too long ago. We had dual charges. We were able to go there with, and not have to go there, I should say, do it all IBT. And we're doing about 75% of the actual court proceedings with some of the inmates, and they never leave their cells.
So that saves you a deputy or
very much so,
transportation,
safety issue, etc. So yeah, I'm in full support of it. Like I say, it's turned out very well, especially over the last probably year and a half or so. Anyway, so it's done very well. And again, I don't know the financial end of what it costs per year. I'm assuming it's a fairly hefty amount, but it's worked out very well.
Well, $3,600.
Yeah.
Is that an annual? 3,600?
It probably is.
Yes.
Let's see, one year, yeah, and then next year they'll
I
bring
mean,
it.
if that's $3,645 a month, that's
No.
one thing. If it's
Right.
$3,645.
I would think that's probably a year.
It's a 1
You're
year.
getting your money back on that, and you're also, it's a safety issue for the fact that we don't have to bring some of the
You don't have
inmates
to transport.
out of their jail. Yeah, exactly. There's been more times than not now, that we're not having to go anywhere to go get anybody on a court day. So right there, you're already looking at a savings of, vehicle maintenance and staff hours.
Tremendous savings.
Yeah, exactly, and then you throw in the safety factor. It's to me that'd be worth it.
Absolutely. Okay. Would anyone care to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to enter into a one-year maintenance agreement with AT&T in the amount of $3,645 for the Polycom system, paid out of the general fund 101-115-819-00, government administration. Move from contingency and so amend the budget.
No second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Reitner?
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson?
Yes.
Commissioner Fishnick?
Yes.
Commissioner Warner?
Yes.
Commissioner Christenberry?
Yes.
Expenditures for August 2013.
Make a motion to approve the total allow expenditures for the month of August 2013 in the total amount of $1,244,101.48.
Second.
I have a motion and support to pay the bills. Roll call.
Commissioner Wilson?
Yes.
Commissioner Fishnick?
Yes.
Commissioner Warner?
Yes.
Commissioner Christenberry?
Yes.
And Commissioner Reitner?
Yes.
Claims and audit.
You got it.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the claims and audit in the amount of $57,002.55
Second.
for September the 24th, 2013.
Support.
I have a motion and support. Any discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Fishnick?
Yes.
Commissioner Warner?
Yes.
Commissioner Christenberry?
Yes.
Commissioner Reitner?
Yes.
And Commissioner Wilson?
Yes.
Correspondence, reports, and resolutions. Having seen none, heard none, we'll move right on to committee reports. Mr. Berner, really?
Well, September 11th, I attended a webinar seminar here in the boardroom here, with reference to Benefits Consulting Group. Went through the insurance information. Then on September 16th, we attended a MAC conference in Franklin. There was a couple meetings I went to there. One was dealing with the guidelines for sentencing through the court systems. And then the other one I attended was a jail reimbursement program. They had some good information on it. They had some nice guidelines. Actually, the jail, my understanding, prison has gone down as far as the amounts. And then, let's see, attended mental health MAC meeting conference. They went through, they're talking about combining NEMSCA from Gaylord to community mental health here, but they're talking it may take another year or so to combine and get a big district from the northern part up of Michigan. So they're still working on that. And on the 20th, attended a VA meeting with Liz, Larry and I did. We're setting up a committee, putting on applications through different organizations like the American Legion, PFW, to see if we get assistance through them, sponsoring. And then yesterday I attended Oscoda County Human Service Coordination Service. They're going to try to combine some districts, I would say from 55 up north to Sioux, and get all those districts under one. They have several good programs there, and that's about it.
Mr. Wilson?
9/12 EDC meeting, went over everything that we produced, that they brought to the board that was voted on. 9/13 landfill, Jack and I attended. Leach evaporation has saved the landfill already $55,000. That's over 1,500 gallons a day. Let me see, they're going to be breaking ground supposedly RER for the gasification program, supposedly in October, to add on, the garage will be added on to the landfill office. 9/15 MAC conference. Bubby did get me in trouble there. They asked in the whole room on Sunday how many people had emergency management set up to raise their hand, and I was the only person in the whole room. So I told them to call Buffy if they want to talk about it. So I passed it on to her. 9/20 claims and audit. 9/20, Bob already talked about it. We went over the board and the veterans. We did, me and Bob and Liz had to vote on one claim per person that we had to put through. 9/23, Northeastern Michigan Consortium and Michigan Works. They are changing their regions for regions 3 instead of 8 counties. We're going to 10 now, which don't mean a whole lot to anybody. But and Mount Morenci are going to keep their jail open. They're going to be housing people from Livonia to keep the jail open. They're going to be charging $30 a day per bed. So that was great news for them. They're not closing. And that was it.
I had a pretty quiet 2 weeks. I went to the webinar with Bob. I went to the MAC conference. We've already talked about those two. The landfill meeting we've already talked about. The only thing different was the landfill claims and accounts that I went to do on last Thursday. And the road commission this morning. And not much really happening at the road commission at this point. That's it. Wow. It was a short week. It was great.
Yeah, Monday, September the 16th, I went down to the MAC conference and attended a couple of their special meetings. And then on Friday, on the 20th, I went over the bills. Just yesterday, I went over to District Health Number 2 in West Branch. And everyone is all excited about the new health officer that is going to be she will be coming the end of this month. So everybody has met her and they really like her, so that's good. There was quite an extensive overview of the budget. Doug Getty spoke about the blue-green algae blooms over at Vanette Lake. That's over near Oscoda. And he told us about they were thinking about trying to kill the algae, but if you try and kill it, the bloom breaks open and that spreads toxin. So they just decided to just maybe let the cold weather take care of it. It's very fatal to pets, can be to humans also. Dr. Bush said that the measles are coming back, and the cases have doubled this year. So, and then he also mentioned about the flu shots. If you're going to get a flu shot, get the quad that covers all of the viruses. There's also construction for the new dental clinic north. Should be completed in the spring. The union negotiations are coming up. And the motion was made to purchase the new time clock for the health department. And that's all.
On September 17th, I was at the Oscoda Valley Community Mental Health Executive and Finance, and they went over the fiscal year 14 budget, but it isn't much of a budget. It's just a continuation of last year's because they don't know what the revenue is going to be. So now they know how the school boards feel. And they went over some more bylaws. On the 18th, I went to the literacy meeting. Public service announcements are going out to local radio station. Tutoring starts in October. They had a luncheon held for the tutors last July, and that went over very well. Kim Wright, he resigned from the literacy board, and Alice Stone is the interim president. 9/18, too, I went to the library. They purchased 4 computers, working to put the lines in place. They need to revisit the policy on children running around in the library. Nancy Crane resigned, and there's oak wilt in the north end of the library property. 9/19, I was at the Oscoda Valley Community Mental Health Building Committee. We picked an architect for the Oscoda remodeling and went over fix-it plans for some of the buildings. And we visited Beechwood down the road here by the Pink Store, behind the Pink Store. And those, I gotta admit, the homes these people are in are very well kept up. DHS, they had much discussion on their MCSSA, that's their activist association. A lot of 11 counties aren't paying their dues, and they're wondering, why are we paying dues if nobody else is going to? And they really aren't. They aren't inviting the directors to this, and the state's cutting down the travel run for the directors, so I don't know what's going to go on. Lee mentioned District Health number 2. They got the new computer program for the finances. The audit should cost less this year. The meth house in Mayo, that still has contaminants in it in the house and garage, so that's still closed. They have talked to the owner, and he's getting some quotes on how to clean it up. Lee mentioned the new director's taking over on Monday, then measles, and Dr. Bush said that is because people won't get their children vaccinated. They believe it causes autism or whatever. But the cases are doubling. And older people should get a whooping cough booster because whooping cough is coming back, and that vaccination wears out the older you get. Oscoda Valley Community Mental Health, that was a regular board meeting last night. Still no word on the funding. They are working on the the Northern Michigan Regional Entity. I think that's kind of what you were talking about, Bob. Mental health it's all going to be 55 up. And we listened to a couple of consumer issues, and that was it.
Thank you very much. And at this point, I'll open it up to public comment. Do we have any public comment this morning? Yes, AJ.
I'd like everyone to keep Wayne Ruddy in your prayers and thoughts. He's safe for cancer treatment.
And it's our understanding, AJ, that as of 4:30 yesterday afternoon, he was out of surgery. They did, in fact, remove the kidney completely. The doctors are very positive, or very upbeat about the fact that they think everything's okay. We won't know anymore. Brenda had an email, was it an email or phone call about Dwayne's condition. Hopefully he'll be in our prayers and he'll have a speedy recovery.
Thank you.
For those of you who don't know, Dwayne Roddy is our hazmat guy and our go-to guy on many, many things. And he's also the fire chief at Zern. And he did have cancer in his kidney, and the kidney has been removed. All we can do is hope and pray that everything goes well for him. Thank you, AJ, for that. Any other public comment? Yes, Tammy.
Yeah, I have raffle tickets for a queen-size quilt that community mediation is, I'll make it quick, is raffling off, and raffle tickets are $1 each or 6 for $5, and I have some here. It's a beautiful quilt, and we're gonna draw just in time for Christmas.
Thank you, Debbie.
She made it.
She did.
Come on, Kevin.
When she gets going, there's no
Have
stopping.
you ever known her not to? All right. Nothing to report, Kevin. All right, very good.
There's one thing going on. Did you hear about the new River Fest they're opening, they're putting together for next year? It's gonna coincide with the first mile dam canoe race. They wanna set this up downtown. The board met on it. It's gonna be in the newspaper. Tom, you got anything to add about this, since you're doing an article about the River Fest?
It's already online if you want to read it, but it'll be out in tomorrow's paper.
It's just something to look forward to for next year. They're working on it real good, real hard.
They being
Mike Smith, you know him all, Brandy, go ahead.
Hold on, I got the.
Is this the?
Is it a group or?
It's a new committee that just started.
It's not the Chamber of Commerce?
No, this is just a group of concerned citizens who, how do I phrase this and do it politically? It was during a planning commission that the idea came up. They were asking, what does Oscoda County do well? And Mike thought, the river. So why not have a festival that focuses on activities that go on at the river? Ryan Wyckoff, Brandy Wright, Matt Linseman, Don Levine, and Larry was there too. So
the more the merrier, right?
Yeah.
Right.
More people that want to get involved, people that want to see Oscoda County have more activities.
Basically, yeah.
I know Sandy wants to see more people get involved also, so it's very good.
Good thing, Sandy, you can set up a booth, this thing next year. It's gonna be might be working on closing downtown, the street, if we can get it. We're gonna have a lot of vendors, a lot of balloon things for kids, them air balloon stuff they play on. It's gonna be quite a beer tent, whole shop. Budweiser's gonna put the beer tent. They're covering all the insurance liability on it. So, 2 bands, one in each end of the town. They're planning quite a bit of work.
We'll get like Traverse City. We have so many festivals that we'll have to cut them down.
Yeah, they're tough.
That work first shift that want to be to these meetings don't have to rely on Doug's website or, word of mouth. Maybe we could make to where, they have just one of the meetings, not all of them, just one a month. So people that would like to be to the meetings, and maybe y'all could have, like you have your minutes there, just to get them refreshed on what was going on. I'm hoping to have some paperwork and ask for a vote, next meeting. I think it's very important that the rest of the citizens in Oscoda County that can't make it to these meetings, and there are very, very many of them. If you look at the businesses and what we have here, there's not very many second and third shift jobs. I would have to say at least 80% plus of the people work first shift. They can't be here. And I don't think that you as representatives for what the people of Oscoda would like can get enough input by the very few that can make it during the meetings being at 10 o'clock. So I'm hoping to have some paperwork and, something that I can hand you guys next time or give to Brenda so she can look it over and ask to have it on the agenda and for some discussion and maybe a vote. So.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now I'm going to call for a 5-minute break, and tell you up front, people, we're going to come back and go into closed session. So at this point, we'll take a 5-minute break.